So how do you calm an overexcited dog? Welcome to Cornerstone Gundog Academy, where you can learn to train your retriever with our online videos. A lot of people have dogs that are overexcited, and there's quite a few reasons for that. It could just be that your dog is naturally excited and naturally energetic. It could be some accidentally self-induced bad habits, and a number of reasons. It could be that the air is colder outside and the puppy's been up and it wants to get outside and get all excited. So again, there's numbers and numbers of reasons of why your dog could be overly excited, but the question is, well, how do you handle that? How do you calm your dog down or your puppy down? I will say, if your dog's older, a lot of times if it's still excited, if we're 2-3 years old, if the dog still gets over hyper, that's probably going to be more of a self-induced problem. This kind of goes back to the roots of when you first brought your puppy home. Believe it or not, you can, if you really think hard about it, maybe even if you have some videos of your puppy, the way it acted, maybe even the way it retrieved as a puppy, certain things, a lot of those same tendencies it actually will carry as it grows older, and that's because of conditioning. When you have a young puppy, you don't really think too much about some of the things they're doing, even jumping on you as a young puppy, or barking, whatever it may be. A lot of those tendencies, if they go unchecked and you don't think about it, they can turn into a real bad habit later. The same thing goes for an overexcited dog that goes blowing through the door before you walk through. Or a dog that when someone walks up gets very excited and overly excited, almost to the point it makes the person nervous to walk up. And so all those things can really root back to the puppy. But as far as if you have a puppy, I want to say, go ahead and stop those things now. You're going to save yourself a lot of trouble and a lot of headache if you stop it now. Think about things with your puppy right now. Think about things that you would not want your dog to do that it is doing now. So imagine if your dog was its full grown size, 50, 80, 90 pounds, depending on which type of breed you have. And think about, would you be okay with your puppy doing those things when it's older? And if the answer is no, then don't let it do it as a puppy. This is the easiest time to stop it and instill those habits. Now, for those of you that are thinking, well, my dog's already older, what am I gonna do now? Well, there's the good news. You can work through those types of things. Now, there's also some kind of bad news is, depending on the age of your dog, it could be pretty hard to work through. Maybe the habit's already pretty ingrained, but that's nothing that you still can't work through if you're determined to do it. So what I would encourage you to do, if you have an older dog that is pulling on the lead, that is doing things you don't want it to, maybe it's jumping, maybe it's just overexcited, going through the door before you allow it to, or whatever it may be, just signs of overexcitement, I would encourage you to slow everything down that you do. I want every part of your dog's life to become structured. A lot of times the dog doesn't have enough structure, and therefore it does what it wants to because it decides what it wants to. Well, you are the dog's owner. It is your job to show the dog the structure that it needs and instill that. So that could even mean sitting at the food bowl and waiting to eat. Hold the food over your dog's head and make it sit, then even get to the point where you can sit the food bowl down. Even if you've got an older dog, a lot of people do this with puppies, but even if you have an older dog, you can do this one tip, and that's going to start instilling calmness. That teaches your dog that it has to learn to do what you want it to do before it's allowed to do what it wants to do. Another great scenario is before you go out the door. Think about it. If your dog naturally is going to bust out of that door, go ahead and have your dog on a lead and have a good hold on that lead. And when that dog tries to bust out the door, hold that lead and don't let the dog bust out. Make the dog sit. You may want to use food to your advantage here to help shape and mold the dog's behavior and what you want it to. So hold that food up, let the dog look, and then you start walking out the door. If the dog tries to bust in front of you, it doesn't matter if it takes 10 times. I want you to turn back around, shut the door, and then redo it. Open the door, if the dog busts in front of you again, keep redoing it. Eventually the dog's going to think, what is going on? We're not going outside. We normally go straight outside. And then if you do that enough times and you get your dog's attention, you can show your dog what you're looking for. Therefore, maybe it's 10 times in, your dog finally clicks. The dog looks at you and thinks, okay, I'm not going to bust out this time. It sits there, and then you start walking out and it walks out with you. A lot of these things are just come from our everyday hurry in life, and you're not really thinking about it. So I hope you're grasping the concept here. I hope you're kind of thinking about certain scenarios that fit you and your dog. And if you are, think about those scenarios. I mean, I gave a couple of scenarios and there's tons more, but I want you to start thinking about your dog, how it's getting exciting, and think about the precursors. What are the events that happens before your dog gets excited? If someone's coming over, the last tip, if you have company coming over, which probably right now we don't have too many guests coming over with COVID, but once that's all done, if you have people starting to come over because we're celebrating, everybody's able to get back together now, then think about it. Does your dog get excited when people come to the door? And if they do, then maybe have someone else go to the door while you have your dog on the lead, or make your dog stay on its place. Anything that you can do to instill control, instill control. Make sure your dog understands that it needs to have full control. Here's the tip. Calmness is going to help your dog learn that it can be rewarded. Do not reward your dog unless it is calm.